Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk about the Magician today, which is one of my favourite tarot cards, and the Kate Bush song I have chosen is also one of my favourites. But as you can see, there are two cards here because I ended up not liking the first version that I made of this card, and then done a second version. And I'm still thinking, am I going to end up doing a third version? So anyway, I will show you these very shortly. Let me just quickly talk about the traditional meaning of this card, because I think this probably relates to the first go at this Magician card. So we've got the Marseille Tarot here, and we have the idea, I mean, in some of the old decks, he's called the juggler. And I think it's more like someone who's an entertainer. He is doing tricks. He's got his dice here. He's got his cup and ball. And as a child, we might be really in awe of him. And then I suppose as we get older, we realise that the magic isn't real. And we're probably more fascination is trying to work out how he does it, and the fascination is in the skill. But I suppose there is that, I mean, I remember watching magicians as a child, or Paul Daniels on the TV, and there is that, I think there is that moment as a very young child where I actually believed he was performing magic. Now, when we get to the Rider-Waite, I think we've got a different focus here because we have, well, one, he's a lot posher, isn't he? He's got posher tools than that Marseille tarot guy. Because he's got like a gold cup and he's got his pentacle, and this seems like a ceremonial sword. And a wand. It's all the kind of tools of ceremonial magic. And there is the implication here that through those rituals that he is performing real magic, that something will change, that he is able to manifest something or change reality or change the future in some way. He's not just performing tricks. Now, for the song, for the Kate Bush song, I did think about Houdini because, of course, he was an illusionist, an escape artist. He was a performer. He was quite close, really, to this sort of person that astounded people with his skill. And yeah, he is a magician, but I don't think he's the right energy for this. I don't think that song is the right energy for the Magician card. And if we think about where he is in the tarot pack, he is the second card after the Fool. And how I imagine it is, I imagine the Fool is a bit like Frodo. He's a bit like Frodo in Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. And Gandalf arrives and he encourages Frodo to leave the Shire, to leave his little cosy home and to go on a quest. And I think of this almost like a Gandalf figure. So with that in mind, this probably won't surprise you, I chose cloud busting as my card for my song, I mean. And I found this photo again from the John Carter Bush book, which I think is taken from the video. And you probably, if you're watching this video, you know the story behind cloud busting. But basically, it is based on a book, I think it's called The Book of Dreams, and it is by William Reich's son. I think his name's Peter Reich. And he wrote this beautiful book about his close relationship with his father, what inspiration his father was to him. But his father was a psychologist, and he had some quite outlandish ideas which upset people. And one of those ideas was about you could harness sexual energy and you could either store it in some sort of box that would heal people, or you could store it in like a machine that you would then, if you released it into the atmosphere, it would make rain. So that's the idea of the cloud busting machine. And people really didn't like this. And there was a court order against him. I think the machines were banned. And then they found some of the machines and he was arrested. And then sadly, William Reich died in prison 2 years later. So it is a book which is kind of about the magic, this magical father and his outlandish ideas. The father seems to have been very much a kind of magician figure. And the sadness of this man looking back on his childhood, missing his father, and of course that loss afterwards when he was arrested and then later died. So it's I think it's probably one of my favourite songs because it combines that feeling of hope. So I've chosen the lyrics. I just know that something good is going to happen with that melancholy. And I think those two emotions often do go together, don't they? It's when we feel at our saddest, the hope often arrives too. And it's that suggestion of possibility which I think the Magician card is very much about. Now, I sort of like this card, but I think I got frustrated about it because it feels quite static. I know I've kind of got these bubbles coming out, and they're from a Klimt painting actually, but I started to think more. I mean, there's quite a lot. I said Magician is one of my favourite tarot cards, but I'm often disappointed with the Magician card in tarot decks. I was thinking about my favourite Magician card, and these are, I've got Margaret Petersen here, and Mary L. Tarot, and Osho. Now, what I love about the Margaret Petersen is we have this sense of movement, we have this breath, we have the start. This could be like the breath of life, but we've got this energy here. Something is starting, something is happening. I mean, some of the kind of Magician cards feel a bit like, I mean, I don't know, almost like they're performing, you're doing the ritual, you're doing the kind of structure, but I think as a card or as an energy, Magician doesn't really feel like that to me. It feels more like something stirring, something beginning. It's not, for me, maybe because I'm not a magician myself, it's not like doing a craft or a spell. It is more a energy or potential or just something, an idea, the start of a journey. And I love this one because you can only see his cloak. You can't see his face at all. He's quite kind of scary, and there is that sense, as I said about Gandalf, he takes Frodo out of his comfort zone. And the magician as a figure is someone, I think in stories, who he encourages our hero, our fool, if you like, but he's not going to be perfect. We know at some point in that story he's going to let the fool down, or he's not going to be there, because the fool or the hero needs to learn how to tap that magic in himself. And then we've got the Osho one, which is called Existence. And this is very much about, well, all life is magical, that life itself is magic, and it's about tapping into the magic of the everyday. It doesn't have to be something grand and out of this world, and magic, we can see magic in the ordinary. So this is my second version. And you can see I've chosen a later part of the chorus. So it's, but just saying it could even make it happen. And I like this lyric because it suggests that once we put our mind to something, that things are already starting, things already go into motion somehow. That sometimes it's just a change of mindset that is the catalyst, if you like, for things changing. And the rainbow is, I thought that's quite an interesting thing as well, because, I mean, as I talked about rainbows a little bit in the Eight of Wands card, but they're illusions. It's an illusion of the light, actually, isn't it, a rainbow? So it's something that fills us with awe, but it is also something that we can't ever kind of reach. And there is that sense, I think, in the Magician card, because we know that whatever we do, really, that we have potential or energy, but we are kind of restricted by, it's not just us, is it? We are restricted by our world around us. Whatever we do, actions have consequences, but we don't always know. We're human. We don't know the consequences of all our actions. And most actions actually do have a positive and negative consequence to them. And at the beginning, we can't ever really know. We're not ever fully in control. And moments of magic also, often, they can feel transient, can't they? That's almost part of their beauty, actually. If they were always there, they wouldn't be magical. Magical can feel like something extraordinary, which I suppose, if we return to this card, is kind of, perhaps Osho is trying to encourage us to embrace that state of wonder more in everyday life. So I thought if I did a third card, it would be the lines in between. So of course we've got the chorus, I just know that something good is going to happen. And then the lyrics go, but I don't know when, or I don't know when. And then, but just saying it could even make it happen. And I thought those lyrics, I don't know when, could be the middle card. And I also thought, well, I've got pictures of Kate Bush here, but you could say that Kate Bush is more like the fool in this card, or the apprentice. And I haven't really got a picture of the magician. So I did think maybe a picture of Kate Bush and Donald Sutherland from the video. And then I would have 3 cards. So that is my take on the magician. Do let me know if you can think of any other songs that you would think would suit this this card. And yeah, I look forward to hearing what you think. Thanks as always for watching. Bye bye.